Good morning and welcome to Divi and WordPress and building a website nice and quickly. I'm Dante. I'll be taking you through today. I think it's some very familiar faces on here. So most of you, I think, have actually had in other webinars before. So thank you so much for joining me again. This is going to be a bit of fun. I think it's going to be quite quick. If you do miss everything, that's okay. It'll be recorded for YouTube later on the week as well. So you're not going to miss out on anything too vital. So let's get started, hey? Is brought to you by Business Station and the Australian Small Business Advisory Services Digital Solutions Program, administered in Western Australia by Business Station, Regional Development Australia, Brisbane in Queensland, and Treaty Business Consulting in the Northern Territory. And it will be available a little bit later this week on YouTube. Just search for Business Station on YouTube and you will find what you're looking for, with this one being repeated. This is going to be a very live demo, so I'm not just going to be doing death by PowerPoint and lots of slides about it. We're actually going to go into web hosting. We're going to install WordPress, we're going to install Divi, and then take it from there. So let's see how we do with that. Lovely little quote I got here from Stephen King, which I thought was really interesting. The amateurs sit and wait for inspiration. The rest of us just get up and go to work. And that can be a big problem with websites, because we quite often are looking for the right inspiration, the perfect site, the perfect theme, the perfect look, when all along we could have just picked a theme that was already built for us, and we could just adjust what we're doing and get a website built so much quicker than what we would if we had to build everything from scratch all on our own. So yeah, I really encourage you to use things like Divi and other systems that give us, I guess, the chance for us to build so much quicker, so we spend more time doing the things that really count, like the marketing of the website, rather than being stuck on the design process of the website. Also, this is our process today. We're going to look at what Divi actually is. We're going to install it, we're going to configure it, and then we're going to build it. It's a really simple one today, but it's going to be very, very important for you to sort of follow as you go along to make sure you see what those steps are. Thankfully, they do have the ASBAS Digital Solutions Program, where myself, I'm available as an advisor, and there's others who really know Divi quite well and WordPress quite well in your state. But if you want to deal with me especially, just look for, I think it's the advisor's called Treaty ASBAS NT Advisors. It hasn't got my name in it, unfortunately. But if you do want to get a session one-on-one with me at all, you can get hold, just drop me your email or something in the chat, and I can get in touch with you and talk you through how to do that for you. A little bit about me, if you haven't come across me before, I've got a lot of badges and certificates. I work with a lot of programs as well, including ASBAS. I work with Treaty Business Consulting in Darwin in the top end, my own agency, Clickstarter. They started some 4 or 5 years ago now. I work with Facebook's Boost with Facebook program around Australia, as well as Google's Digital Springboard project, which brings a lot of training stuff to people in remote areas and areas where they've got disadvantages. Certified practicing marketer with the Australian Marketing Institute, and working very recently with the New Business Assistance with the NICE program, which is a long-term unemployed program, getting people to start their own businesses. So what you really need when it comes to starting a WordPress site with Divi is web hosting. So this is not going to work on WordPress.com. This works on the version of WordPress where you have to get your own web hosting. Now, the reason for this is it's not certified to work with WordPress.com. Now, some other page builders are. This particular one is not. And it's probably the easiest of the page builders to work for. So it is worth, in this case, getting your own web hosting. I've got lots of suggestions of the kind of web hosting you can use and different companies you can go with. One of them would be probably Ventura IP in Australia. So I'll just type that out in the chat. Also, if you want to go a bit further afield to a more international company, SiteGround are also excellent, but they still do actually do their hosting within Australia. They use Google Cloud, which has a data center in Sydney here in Australia. So you're not going too far afield, get good quality web hosting that does these things. And neither of those two are particularly over the top expensive either. And they've both got excellent, excellent support. You then will need a subscription to the Divi Builder through a place called Elegant Themes. And that's a really good, interesting one. If it's a way for you to get hold of what you need with the updates. Now, I've actually got a free offer at the end for premium. I'm going to give you my code that gives you premium access to Divi as well. So you won't actually need that, but I just can't include it in these slides here because it's a bit long, but I will give it to you. And Chris Jorgensen is actually saying, if you want web hosting with a Divi license included, which is really, really generous, get in touch with Chris. That's a great idea. So there's a lot of content and images and material that's very important when it comes to Divi for you to want to have on your site. So having all that stuff prepared and ready to go when you go to build means the build is going to be so much quicker. You're not going to scramble around on each page and trying to write things as you're going. And it's generally good practice for you to do a website in very much in pieces. So you start off first with the things you want to put on there. So writing out your about me, writing out your product descriptions, putting together the photos you want to have on there, or any videos, any sort of multimedia you want to have on there. Have that ready to go first, because then it's much easier for you to then work with the layouts that Divi has. And when I'm talking about layouts, I guess we're talking about Divi not being your average WordPress theme. It's not like a theme where you just go and you just adjust those pages and that's what you've got. Divi is like a theme that contains lots of themes within it, but it also allows you to build your own themes. So it works with what we call blocks of content. A block could be, 4 items across on 4 columns across on a row. It could be 2 columns across on a row. It could be a special layout that has sort of almost randomly placed blocks that are in a layout. And each of those blocks can come together for a whole lot of predetermined designs that the guys at Divi have been able to put together. And there's dozens and dozens and dozens of them for different purposes, different industries. And you'll find you might actually see a few in there that look quite familiar from different websites that you've seen. To really put it in the most layman's language as possible, it's like Lego for websites. You've got layouts that are within the Divi theme, which are kind of like the instructions you get with a box of Lego to build an aircraft or a Star Wars Millennium Falcon, or any kind of like preset, predetermined design that you want to put all those blocks together to build that out. The difference is though, is that Divi gives you the completed one. So it's like buying a completed set of Lego already put together in the box. You don't have to build it. All you do is make whatever changes you want to make with it. Or it's like having a whole bunch of blocks you can work with of different shapes and sizes and different kinds of content that you can put together into whatever you like. So I think Lego and Divi are a really good analogy, because you can go with something that's predetermined. So you're building something that you know it's going to look like, or you can take all the blocks and build something that you want to build from scratch with the kind of layout that you want just for yourself. So enough of the PowerPoint. We're going to jump straight into Divi. I'm just going to jump into one of my web hosting accounts here. And this is a pretty average kind of interface. I'm hoping you can still actually see that through there, but let me know if you can't. With this particular view, you're seeing the cPanel with SiteGround. Now in here, it's got a lot of auto installers, and most web hosting will have that as well. It'll have something like Installatron or Softaculous, which will give you the idea to be able to pre-install a whole bunch of these, like these little things here, like Joomla, WordPress, Magento, which is a e-commerce package, and lots of other pieces of software that are free for you to install and then work with and configure yourself. What we want to do is install WordPress. I'm going to click on WordPress, and it's going to give me an option of where I want to install WordPress on my web hosting. So I've got lots of other installations of WordPress here. Let's just go, I'm going to put it into here and call this ASBAS 1. Now, normally you would connect it just through to your own domain there, which is fine. But if you are working like I am on a test site, we often put it in a subdirectory just so we're not overwriting a site that we might already have there. First thing I'm going to put here is my digital advisor as the title of the site. So that'll be whatever your title would be. So if you're selling massage therapy, if you're selling scented oils, if you're selling accounting services, then that will be the name of your business in there. And the description will be, a little brief description will be the easy way to get the advice you need from a certified ASBAS Digital Solutions provider. Let's say advisor rather than provider, hey? So once we've got all that in place, then we create the account that we're going to log into this particular installation of WordPress with. I'm going to go St James, and let's just pick, what's a password I never use? Well, I live in Darwin, so I'm going to go Darwin 0800. I can promise you I never use that on any kind of accounts that I use anywhere. and then the email that I want to be connected through to. So I'm just going to put that through to my Gmail address. It will then give you a whole bunch of these little options down here. This is just something that's very unique for SiteGround itself. I'm just going to turn that off because it does install some very annoying stuff. So now what this is doing is just installing WordPress on its own. We haven't even started on Divi yet. Meanwhile, I'm going to go over to Elegant Themes, and we're going to download Divi. Now I've got to log into Divi, so I can go in there and download it. So I've got the most recent one. So I'm going to download the Divi theme. That's pretty quick. It's not really a lot of software. A lot of it comes in later on. It's just finishing off the, apparently there's 101% of an installation going on. That's a first. While that's still going on, I'm also going to, yep, we're nearly there. There we go. So now what I've got is a fresh installation of WordPress. I'm just going to go and open up, first of all, the front end, which is, that's just the average WordPress thing. And then the back end here. Now you can go through and do all these things. We're not really doing a WordPress tutorial today. So what I'm going to do is just jump straight forward to start installing the things that I want to install. And one of those first things is going to be under Appearance and then Themes. I'm going to install my Divi Builder. At the moment, it's using the 2020 theme. It's doing a bit of cleanup here. I'm going to delete these old ones because I don't need them. Get rid of that one. It just takes up extra space on your hosting that you don't really need to. So it's got all these different versions. I want to upload my own, which is the Divi one. There it is. It's going to load it up, install it, and that's going to become the default theme that I'm going to work with. So any moment now, I've got someone in the next room playing an online game at the moment, which may be affecting my upload speed. And of course, we're doing a live video, which is also affecting my upload speed. Damn you and your Overwatch playing in there. So this is really, really slow today. It appears to be not uploading as quick as I would like it to be. Are we getting there? Are we getting there? Let's try again. It usually goes a little bit faster than this. Yeah, we're there, nearly there, 54%. Just a little bit slow because of other things going on. I might just turn my video off. That might help the upload speed a little bit more. Does not appear to be making much of a difference. There we go. We're finally there. We're installed. We're going to replace the current with the uploaded. It's because it's trying to do it 2 times because it wasn't giving me much of an update. Okay, let's go back in here. I'll see if it actually has installed it. So it has installed it, it just hasn't actually completed making it the default theme. So I'll just activate that one. Sorry, that usually goes a lot more smoothly than that. I think it's because I've got a lot of demand on the internet connection here at home at the moment. So now this is our primary theme. If I go and refresh my front page, you'll notice that the look of the site then changes, which is not very inspiring, really. It just looks kind of crappy. What you now need to do is do a little bit of configuration before you're going to select the layout or the look of your Divi site. So one of the first things I'm going to do is all this rubbish on the bottom I don't need. So I'm going to go in there and get rid of that. That's all found underneath the widgets. And in those widgets, I'm going to go footer area 1 is where they're sitting. I'm just going to get rid of those because I don't want those on the bottom of my site. They kind of look crappy and they have no relevance to my current site. So now that's done and I'm going to refresh, you'll see that that bottom area will disappear. There we go, a little bit better, a bit cleaner. What I'm also going to do now is I've got to do a bit of work on my menus because this menu here has got this uncategorized in it. I have nothing called uncategorized in there. So I'm going to prepare that menu, which is also under Appearance and then Menus. I can prepare this menu to be the main menu that I want it to be. So I'm going to call it Main Menu. And I'm going to say when I create a new page, I want it to automatically add to this menu. And I can always remove that item later on if I want to. And I want to make it the primary menu, which is where this menu at the top is going to be. That's called the primary menu. So once this saves, any second now, and I refresh, that should, I'm getting absolutely no indication whether that is saved or not. I'm just going to assume that that has saved, and I'm going to go now and start building my pages with Divi. So to build the pages with Divi, you'll start off over on the left with pages here, and then we're going to add a new one. So as we build our new pages, this is where we're going to select what the look of our website might be. Now, the obvious first page to build will be the home page, right? And normally when you're building a page in WordPress, you'd use a default editor, but it's actually picked up that we're using Divi. So we're going to use Divi. We're going to use the Divi Builder to do that. And it's going to give us a front end layout. And this is one of the beauties about these page builders these days, is they give you a front end. Now, the first time you do this, it'll ask you if you want to do a tour of the builder. We're just going to start building. It's going to throw up these choices. You're going to build from scratch. That's like the box of Lego pieces that don't actually have any relevance, any sort of plan to them. You just take all the pieces and build whatever you want with your imagination. Or you can browse existing layouts that they've made available, or you can clone an existing page. So if you build a page for your general pages that you really like from a pre-made layout or built from scratch, you can then just copy that across to a new page, so you don't have to do it again and again and again and again. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to look at pre-made layouts, and it's going to give us a whole range of ideas that we may want to pick. Now, just about all of these are going to be based upon the premium Divi. So I'm going to have to enter that into the website at some point. In fact, I might just do that quickly now, entering my Divi code. And this is a code I'll give you a little bit later. I know Chris before was actually advertising that they've got free premium Divi code to install into your website if you take up their web hosting, which will be great. That's a great idea to do it. Down here in Divi, I'm going to go updates, type in my username, all the information I'll give you a little bit later on. And that will enable the premium version of Divi, which unlocks all these amazing layouts. Now, as I go down here, remembering I'm going to put this down as maybe a consultant or an advisor. So I'm looking for an idea that may suit what I'm trying to do. So some of these are kind of boring, some of them are kind of weird, some of them are quite spectacular. They're really quite beautiful. All right, right down at the bottom, it's taking a little bit of a while to load all these, and my internet connection isn't the best today. Or I can use over here and go, I want to tie this down to a certain collection. So I'll go the business collection. It'll just show me the business related templates or themes or layouts, as they're called. So I can go, okay, I really like the look maybe of, oh, let's pick one, anyone. There's always the hard bit, isn't it? Which one are you going to choose? There's one for painters. There's one for digital products. There's a butchered layout there. One for a day spa, which I actually used for a client before. I'm thinking I'm going to land on, oh, I'd like a bit of ice cream right now. I'm going to land on the financial advisor, or no, let's do a virtual assistant, because that's very much like you'd expect a consultant to be. So in here, you've got a home layout. It's actually giving you all the pages for your website pre-laid out. So there's the home page, which looks like this, and you can scroll down and have a look to see what that page is going to look like. Really neat and tidy. You can look at a landing page, which could be what you want to actually send traffic through from your Facebook and Google ads. You can have the description of the services. There's a blog layout, the about page, contact, and services. I'm feeling pretty good about all this. So what I'm going to do is take this home page and I'm going to start building my site. So I'm going to use this layout. Now I've just got to log in as me with my key. And this will unlock it and then install that layout, or the ability to use that layout on my new page. So once this is loading, it brings across all those elements, all the photos that are in there. It brings across every little piece of that puzzle that I need to build my Lego project according to that particular layout. So it's going to bring up and gives me a live front end view of that. So just like that, I've got my front page. Now what I want to do though, none of this is exactly what I want to work with. I want to change some stuff in there. I don't quite have a photo prepared now, but maybe I could get one. I can hover over any element here and notice how it brings up boxes around it and these little options. So what it breaks it down into, the blue area is a section, and that section, and you'll see it covers this whole top area from where the virtual assistant Word is, the photo of the VA, right down to the budgeting and resourcing. All that area is covered, and the options covered for it, the big top level options are covered by the little gears in here for that blue area. If I open that up, you can see that I can link the entire section to something else. I can change some of the background in it. It hasn't actually got a background selected in here because there's somewhere else that's put it. You can see I can do a color, which is what they've done. If I wanted to change the color of that background slightly, notice how that's changing now. Or I can make it more of the kind of colors I like to work with. Maybe a little bit darker. So if I'm going to go with that sort of that dark, moody purple, then if I want to change something else, like if I wanted to change this photo to a photo of me, for instance, I could do that. I just need to make sure I've got a transparent background on the photo. So you may have to spend a little bit of time in Photoshop or a tool like remove.bg, something like that. Over here in the virtual assistant, you might want to go, you know what, I need white writing there. So you just go into the gears. You'll see the writing there. Any sort of options you want to do with the design, I recommend you go under this design tab. Because in the design tab, that allows you to go, okay, what do I want to do with my text? This is heading text. As I hover over this, it'll show me what this is. So it's an H1. Notice how on the right, it's put that blue box around to identify that's the one. It's the right font. I'm happy with that. Might want it a little bit heavier though. There you go. It's a bit more bold. And I want to make it white so it really stands out. Then I can close that. And now I've made a few changes to make it a bit more me. Under budgeting, over here, a little bit different. You'll notice that there's these blocks. And when I hover over it, it's a green area, which is what is called a row. But in that row, it's got 3 blocks across, or 3 columns, 1, 2, and 3. I want to just work with this one over here. So if I click on this, I can work with the items that are in there. So it's got the word budgeting, I think, in there. Seems to be hidden. Some of these designs are really quite complex, so they have like lots of little layers in them. The writing must be somewhere else. We can go under this one and we can look for the options for each column. So column 1 we know is empty. Column 2 has got this darker brown. So I'm going to go in there and see what I can change there. Got a background. There you go. There's that darker brown. I might want to change that to maybe a lighter purple. Or I can click in here and just find the kind of purple I want to work with. There we go. And if I want to use that color again somewhere else, I just copy that color just by highlighting and copying that, going in there. And then I can go down to this one if I want to make that the same color. And again, go into my rows, my columns. It's the last column, the background. There it is right there. And I can go in over the top of that with my other color. Notice though how my writing has changed. So I might want to play around with that a bit. I'll hover over here. I want to play with the communication bit. So there's the word communication spelled incorrectly. And then I can change the design, my text. And it's going to be, I believe, the title text for this one. It's an H4. And change that to white so it stands out a bit better. Much nicer, hey? I can do the same with the icon under the design there, image and icon. Saying, what do I want to do with this icon? I want a border. No, I don't really want any of that. I can then play with a whole lot of the different options. I didn't save that, so I didn't actually keep it. But you can play with a lot of the options for things like borders and making sure that your background has, you know, photos in the background of it or a video in the background of it, or it can have rounded corners around the border if you want to. We're not going to go quite that deep because I think you work faster in Divi when you go with what's there and just concentrate on changing things like colors and words rather than trying to change the design too much. When you get a little bit too fancy in the design, it gets really busy and actually makes the site quite a bit slower to be able to work with and come down as well. So icons up there, we want the border. I actually want the color of the icon, so I'm just going to have to go in to the front here, image and icon. I want to use, it's got an image there, so I can't actually change that. It's not actually an icon. I might want to change that though to an icon of a person. I can find one in here somewhere. Usually a person in there. And you can see lots and lots of different icons you can use. Communication could be, let's choose that one. And so it's pretty just an icon in there. It's just not the color I want it to be. So I can then change that icon color by going to design, image and icon. See how it's selected that horrible teal? Change that to there. I said, what do you want to do with that icon? Well, it looks okay. I just want it to be a little bit smaller, really. And by doing that, I can then go, I think it's in this sizing and spacing. I can play with lots of different settings. I'm making that icon a bit bigger or a bit smaller. But to be quite honest, I quite like the bigger icons. So I might actually go and repeat that in all these others. Scheduling. At the moment, they've got an image. I want to change that to an icon. So looking for a calendar maybe, or maybe just any sort of thing. I want to change that over to the same color. So design, image and icon, choose a color. I've already saved my purple from before. And you start to see it coming together really nicely as your own feel and your own look and your own theme. And I love that quote from Chris, done is better than perfect. And we often say that perfection is the enemy of productivity, because you just never get things done if you're always looking to make it absolutely perfect. So just like we've done in the top here, we can scroll down and then start to hover over any of these things we want. Now, in this particular design, I don't really want all this stuff. So I'm going to get rid of it. That entire block I can get rid of by clicking on the trash can, or I can get rid of individual elements by going to the trash can as I hover over those as well. So for instance, the Gabo there, gone, gone, gone. Don't need any of those. Then I might decide that, oh, actually, I just really need to get rid of everything. So I get rid of that. If I want to go back, the last thing I did is like a Control Z or an Alt Z if you've got a Mac. Or you can use this little time down here. This little timer down here is your editing history, and it brings up the last quite a lot of things that you did. So if I remove that image, remove the section, I want to go down to before that. So it brings back that. And also goes, well, I didn't want to really remove all those. So I'm going to go back to before I remove the images. So it all comes back again. Or if you really want to just go, oh no, I was right in the first place, go forward again to the remove section, and then you're done. And then as you're going along, you really need to start saving your page. So I'm going to save this one, and I'm actually going to publish it so that we can then see what it looks like in a live setting. So as I publish my page, remembering that I call that page home, I'm going to go back to the front where I then created that. And now what I'm going to do, so you see how now home is in there instead of uncategorized? I've got the menu right, but WordPress needs me to tell it where to find the home page. It doesn't automatically go, oh, it's called home, I should make it the home page. This is not what my home page looks like. It should look a lot more like this. So if I go into the WordPress backend again, my dashboard, anytime you're ready, there we go. And I go into my settings, and then I want to look at the reading setting. And under reading, it's asking me, what do I want to display as my home page? I want to display a static page, and it's going to be called home, which is the item that I just created. So you see, it's a fair bit of little configuration things you got to do. But once you've done them once, you'll never have to do them again. Save that change. And if I go back to here and refresh this page, my home page, it'll now bring forward my beautiful new Divi page. Isn't that great? So let's just say we've got this page to where we want it to be, and we want to start now playing more with, you know, the branding of what we do. In other words, this here, I don't think we want a Divi logo there, do we? So I'm just going to go over to Canva. I'm going to build myself a logo. So I'm going to make it, say, oh, about 500 wide. So I'm going to make this, not that one, custom size, maybe about 500 pixels wide by about, let's say, 80 pixels high. Now I'm just going to make up some kind of thing. I'm going to call it, digital advisor. Of course, that's too big. Drop it back to about there. I move it across there, and I'm going to put myself a little logo there somewhere. So I'm just going to find an element and call it, I don't know, let's say smile. So I want it to be a happy digital advisor. Or I might want to design an actual logo. So I can look for a logo, I suppose. There's all these other logos that have been used for other things, or logos that don't really exist but are kind of cool. Might take, let's say this one. It's kind of pretty. I'm going to make my writing a little bit smaller. So now I've got the basis of a logo. I'm going to download that as a PNG with transparent background, which you'd have to have the pro version of Canva to do that. And the reason why I want it to be transparent is I may choose to use the background as something other than white in the future. So now I've got that, I'm going to go back into my Divi. Under these settings of Divi, right down the bottom of the left-hand column in the back end, you can go to, just click on Divi and it'll take you to the theme options. And the very first option is your logo. So I'm going to upload that logo. Here it comes. I'm going to be a good accessibility person and call that my digital advisor logo. Set that as a logo and save my changes. And if I go now to refresh this, the front of my site is now going to have my logo in there. So already starting to see something that's taking shape that's so much more about what I'm trying to be rather than the default that's in there. Now this photo in here, I can change that at any time. And if you're logged into your site and this is not the logged in version, this is the logged in version, you'll see that bar up the top. When you see that bar up the top, you'll be able to go enable Visual Builder, and that allows you to then go in and change anything on the page that you're working with. Now, it won't allow you to do that area at the top, the header, and it won't allow you to change anything in this bottom footer down here, but anything else in here, it will allow you to change. So bear in mind, this is almost a square, this photo. So any photo I want to replace it with kind of has to be almost a square as well. So I'm going to go back into Canva. I'm going to replace it with a new design that's going to be, let's just call it the equivalent of, say, a Instagram post. I'm going to grab a photo of me, if I can find a decent one in there, and see how it goes at removing the background. I think I've got it under my logos directory. I do a lot of work in Canva every day, as you're probably figuring out. So find a photo of me, look at that. That's me. Now there's a tool in Canva, especially the pro version, which allows you to remove the background of an image. So I'm going to go effects, I think it is. I haven't done it for a while. Background remover, there we go. So it's going to attempt to remove the background of this particular photo, so I can have that same effect that our virtual assistant friend has over here. So it's done a pretty good job of that. Look at that. Great. I'm going to call that Dante Transparent. Download it again with a transparent background as a PNG. Anytime you're ready, come on Canva, you can do it. It's funny, as Canva gets bigger and bigger and busier, it gets slower as well. It's downloading this one. What I'm going to do is install it over the top of this. So as I hover over any of these items, so I'm hovering over this one, boom. That's who I want to change. Let's get rid of her and upload me. As it loads up, remembering always put your alt text in. It's going to help your SEO quite a bit. And then upload. And now it's going to replace it with a photo of me. Look at that. That works out all right. And it still sits in as a transparent image that then will have this over the top of it. Looks great. So I'm starting to build something which is definitely a me thing, which is what you want to do. You want to make this your own. So now that I've finished this page, My home button down here, this little purple button, this is my home button, kind of like on a phone. I'm going to save that one, and that's now going to go live with that new version. Now, one thing you'll notice with the home button too, there's a few other things down here, particularly over on the left. You've got the ability to be able to see what your site and what your pages are going to look like on a tablet and on a mobile phone as well. So on the tablet, let's see what I look like here. So it's kind of a bit clunky, doesn't sit quite right. Yeah, it's okay. It's not too bad. It's just not as good as what it was on the mobile. And then I'll look on the phone, a little bit better on the phone, but what I might want to do is to make certain things be in different positions or not visible at all. For instance, on the phone, I don't want that photo of me at all. I think it looks silly on the phone, and it actually looks really silly on the tablet as well. On the desktop, looks completely fine. It makes sense. So if I go, well, okay, if I want to change that on here, I can then hover over the photo of me. Here I am. And notice how in this, I've got, it's only a row of one thing. So the green area, see, it just highlights around there. I can make that under my advanced settings, under visibility, not be present on a tablet. See how it's just darken that out and not be present on a phone. So as I go, boom, let's save that. Even though in here I can still see it. If I then exit my Visual Builder, I can see it on the desktop. I'm going to use my tools in Chrome to make it then what I'd see on a Google Pixel 2. See, notice that's gone. The photo is no longer there. And if I want to be on, let's say, an iPad Pro, same thing. It has made it appear on the iPad Pro, which I actually told it not to. Let's try a Surface Duo. But on Surface Duo, it hasn't. So that's something to notice, that on an iPad, it may actually still show. On a regular iPad, it doesn't show it. But on iPad Pro, it actually still jumps it in because it's considering that to be the width of a full website. Let's pop back in. So now we've decided the things that we don't want to have appearing, and I'm going to take you through that one again just to be absolutely sure. When I go into my Visual Builder and I go to my home button, I've got the options over on the bottom left here to look at tablet. And then here, if you want to look at this and go, look, I'm not really seeing the real thing. I want to get rid of these shaded out areas because they're making it confusing for me. There's an option over on the far left, which allows you to go down to say, turn this off, show disabled modules at 50% opacity. Turn that off, and then it takes it away. So then you're not confused. So you can jump between them now and see them actually as they're going to look in the real world. Bang and bang. So you can see a lot now of how you can build these things out. That's great. So I've built page number 1. So I'm going to hop out of here and I'm going to build page number 2. So let's go back into our dashboard where we know everything is. Remember, we went under pages to build our pages. So we're going to build a new one, add new. We're going to go past this block editor because we want to build it in here. This is going to be our about page. Again, using our Divi Builder. And in that Divi Builder now, we're going to probably do one or two things. We either choose a pre-made layout that's another one of the page layouts that came from that same little theme that we're working with already, or we can clone the home page and take all those settings along with us that we liked. Now in this case, I think we'll just go and pick up the actual about page that they've already pre-created for us. And we went under business. Not that one. Getting closer, getting closer. Come on, where are you? Virtual assistant. And then what we're going to do is pick the about page. So it looks like this. So we're going to use that layout. And again, what we're going to do is go and change our colors to match the colors that we did on the front page. Now, when I'm doing a site like this, I've got tons of little tools that help me make life a little bit easier. So I can go to my previous front page and I've got a little browser plugin that says, oh, I haven't remembered what these colors are. A little color picker that's a browser plugin to my Chrome that I can then go and pick a color from the page. So I know that purple there, and it copies it immediately to my clipboard, is the purple that I want to use somewhere on this side, on this page as well. So if I go, well, that black there, I actually want it to be not that. I want it to be something else. Unfortunately, it's actually a background design on this one, so I can't really do much about it. But if I wanted to say change this writing to be that purple color, that's a heading 2. I go to my design, heading text 2, and then find the color I want to do. And because I've saved that purple into my clipboard, now it's done that sort of that dusty, moody purple color. And the same goes with any color and anywhere in any site. That one's called Color Picker, or Colorzilla, I think it's called. And it allows you to go and pick colors that are on different pages. So for instance, I wanted to go to Canva and I wanted to know what this purple was that was in my presentation before. I could do that same thing, go bang, pick color from page, and then hover over the color. See at the point, this thing up the top, it tells me what the colors are. And then once I click on it, it then copies that color. And I've got that color to now use elsewhere. So if I want to change that, change another item down here, maybe let's say the button on the submit button on this form. What I want to change is email redirect design button. So a lot of this is very logical. When you're looking for, oh, how do I change this particular thing? If I want to change an element on this form, hover on the form, then open up the editing options, look for the design items. Now the design is always going to be under design, and there you go, button. And I can use whatever color I like on the button there. That's a text color, so I don't want to change that. That's going to be what it's going to be. But the background I do want to change. Now Divi is very much, there you go, and it's changed it for you. Divi is very much a place where you've got to get in there and just click around and hover on things and see what can and can't be changed. Something like this background feature texture here. As I hover over that, notice that it's the whole section, that whole blue section. So to make that change, I'd have to go into the section settings. Logically, it's the background, and there it is there. I might want to change that to another one of the background designs that they've got in here. Maybe that's the one that's there. I'll change it to this one and see what it does. Hasn't done anything because it's white on white. So it's probably not my wisest decision, but I might want to take this one. And there you go. So you've got that other pattern that's coming through now. And these kind of patterns are things you can create yourself in Canva as well. So you see when you go, oh, I kind of like that, but I just don't really like the colors that are in it. I want to change the colors to something else. There's one option you can do. Oops, I'll go back in there. I can go in and do what I call filters. The filters will allow me to change the hue of that background. So you notice if you watch this, this area here, this beige color, as I move the hue, that beige color changes a little bit. There's something more like what I want. So that's got like a slight purple tone to it. I can turn up the color saturation to make it more purple, make it brighter if I want, or take it down a bit, but that one's really, I just want it to be what it normally was. Or I can even just go really easily into the sepia tone, so everything's on there, so it's burnt yellows. And that way, you can slightly change those colors to something that's more you, rather than you just going with the colors you have. Or you can quite simply take that design and replicate it over in something like Canva, or if you're using Photoshop, you can use that as well. I had a question a little bit earlier on from Jeanette, who was asking, are you going to show how to link to LinkedIn and Facebook business pages from here? So I'm not quite sure what you mean from linking through to them. If you want to link through to them, I suppose one of the things you can do in here is just create like another button. So if I've got a button here, I might just replicate that button, change what's written in there and go LinkedIn. And then I'll LinkedIn, go off to my LinkedIn page, which is this. That's just a basic link to LinkedIn. So I publish that one, go out to the live site, refresh here. Let's see what it looks like. So there, up there, it's automatically put the about page in there now. My about page, LinkedIn, and that will link out to my LinkedIn page, just like that. But if you want to do something like have the little icons and that, we can do that as well. You probably notice at the bottom of the page, all these little social icons down the bottom here. That's one way you can do it. Or you can create some of your own that are part of your page. So if I go to the home page and I want to actually integrate it in somewhere over here, I can go enable my visual builder to open up an editable version of this page. And let's just go, okay, where would I want to create? Probably down along here somewhere where the hire me is. So I might replicate that line, and I'm going to go in here and create something else. I don't want a button, so I don't really want a button. So I'm going to get rid of the button. I'm going to put something else in there. Go plus. What I want to create is something like just plain text, really. So text. So I'm creating a new block of text. At the moment, it can't read it because it's too dark. So I'm just going to change the design to show that text as white, so we can see what we're doing. Because I've got a picture of me coming in over the top, I am going to realign that to the right so you can actually read what's going on. And I'm going to change that text now under the content to follow me. And under follow me, I'm then going to have a series of different things that I want to have in there, like different icons. So with the icons, I go follow me. I'm going to create a new row now. Can't do an icon on its own, but I believe I can do an image. I have to do it as a blurb. Oops, wrong one. Apologies. There you go. I was mucking around a little bit. Go fine. They're going to go blurb. And a blurb allows me to insert some icons and stuff. So it allows me to have a photo if I want a photo. So image and icon. I want to replace that now with an icon. And I'm going to pick, say, my LinkedIn icon. You look for the LinkedIn logo. It's down here somewhere. There we go, LinkedIn. I'm going to make that a better color. White. Now, obviously, that's way too big. I want to make that much smaller. So I can use the icon font size to make that smaller. So that's going to be 1, and I align it to the right so it sits under there. And I can then link that by going back to my content and link. I can put in my LinkedIn there, which is HTTPS. Also, I can type correctly, huh? And then now I've created a clickable version of that. And if I want to then create another one, I can then just put those in rows across. So that's just a really, really basic, simple way of doing that. And I get rid of all this other rubbish down here by just taking out the title because I don't need it, taking out the content, and then I've just got my little icon there. And then I can just repeat that over and over. So that's a really simple way of doing the icon if you wanted to link through for it, or you could use any block at all and link anything you want to it. So if I was creating another block of these down here and I want to go double up, let's say, let's double this one up, put it over in here, move it in there. So I've got 3 across here. I want to change those into my links to my social media. So I go, well, yeah, I've got an image in there. I want to change that icon to Facebook. And I might want to change this one to Instagram. Oops. Pretty sure there's an Instagram logo in there somewhere. Oops. There we go, Insta. And I might want to change this one to maybe YouTube or something. For instance, if I had a YouTube channel, then I plug that in over, there we go. There's YouTube. And I can just line all these up. At the moment, I haven't got these particularly well lined up because I didn't align this first column the same way as the others. But if I wanted to, I could take what this column is like, copy the style, put it into this module, paste the style. And it's like, it hasn't moved anything because the columns are out of alignment. So we go and look at the whole thing, all these columns. I want my first column to be like my second column, so I can copy the item and paste the style. So what it doesn't take scheduling, it doesn't take the Instagram logo, it just pastes the style. And there you go, it lines up now. It's one of these interesting things. If you want to replicate items across your whole thing, you can just pick up, copy either the entire module, and then if I wanted to paste that in, let's say paste module, and it pastes the entire thing, or I can just paste the styles. Just go pick the style. So I want to copy the style in there. So it's the white background, the padding that's in there, the colors I've used. Go to here, and I want to change that to this style. So go paste the styles, and it then changes it to the same color background. Likewise, I want to change it across those columns. I want to now make this last column look the same as my middle column. So I copy that style, paste that style. Oops, come on, we can do it. There we go. And there you go. I got all those changes I want to make along the way. And because it's visual, you get to see it straight away. So you've got this ability to be able to go, I know what I'm doing now. I can see what I'm doing now. I can see the changes they're going. Remember, if you make mistakes, go into your little clock, and allows you to go back and undo those changes. And it's got a fair few changes you can see that it's allowed me to have. So you can go back a fair way in what you've done. Always remember to save. And if you're setting up a new page, always remember to publish as well. Remembering also that most of us who work in web, we like to design this desktop layout first because we're working on desktop ourselves. But in fact, it's actually probably going to be better for you in the future to start by designing by default for what it's going to look like on a mobile. Get your mobile first, then start going up. Because that way you're always going to design something that works on the most important tool, which is as the future comes in, it's going to be more and more mobile. Most websites now are visited mostly by mobiles. So if you get it right for mobile, then start scaling up to tablet, and then start scaling up to here, because any item you have in here, even the size of that font can be changed according to where it's going to be. So if I go to look at that, for instance, I want to change this. It's a heading 1. So go to my design, I'm looking for heading text, heading 1. I can then look at the size of that, and it has the option for me to change the size depending on what I'm on. A desktop is 100 pixels. A tablet, it's 65 pixels. So it's already built in some size changes, and 42. But I think it needs to be bigger on a mobile. So I'm going to take it out so it fills that up a bit more. Let's make it maybe 62. On the tablet, yeah, it looks all right. I can live with that. And on the desktop, that's looking okay. I might actually want to pull it back a little bit, maybe. And it's only going to change that size on the desktop or on the tablet or on there. So you're always seeing something that's much more relevant for what you want to see. As I save, I go through my different settings. I see that it's actually changed it. It's brought it out a bit more in the mobile version. It's got the bigger version now. Really cool, huh? So that is, in a nutshell, how using Divi works to build a site. So you can I just built 2 pages there whilst explaining what it can be, and then you replace any of this item. So you want to replace any of the writing at all. Again, hover, look for the thing you're looking for, the Sedut Perspictiatus. Always clicking on the gears to make those changes. Change this through to my About You section, and it changes it live over on the right here. And you can do those same kind of things even in the mobile version. So I'm going to go down here and hover over here again. It allows you to do that within mobile. So I want to get rid of some of these because I've got too many of them. And then you can see what things look like on the mobile. Any of these as well are still able to be said that you can show them visible or not visible on different kind of items. And you've always, if you're a bit of a CSS freak and you're actually not scared of code, you can add different CSS elements in there as well. If you don't know what I'm talking about, don't worry about it. Divi's doing most of the heavy lifting for you. So we go back out to the desktop size, because it's what most of you are probably going to start building with. And again, if you want to go start building a new page, you exit your visual builder, save what you've done, obviously, because you don't want to lose your settings. And then we can go and create a new page. Now, even though you can do new here, I'd probably encourage you not to, because Divi doesn't work well with that menu. I go back into your dashboard and then do it from pages. And then you create your new page from there. So very, very quickly, because we've only got a few minutes left, I'm going to create the blog page. And I'm going to show you how that works. Use my Divi Builder. And I'm going to look for the blog layout of that particular layout that we were using. Just under business, right down the bottom, where our consultant was. There she is. I'm going to use the blog layout. And what it's going to give me, it's probably not going to show me that many layouts because we've got not many blog entries in our particular site at the moment. It's probably only one, I'd say, that came automatically with it. So it's just got the one there and there's no image associated with that one blog post. But if I was to say, change that blog post, back in my dashboard, back into my posts, because that's where blog posts are. Hello World's in here. The Hello World doesn't have a picture associated with it. So I'm going to just add something to it. I'm going to add a featured image over on the right. So we can actually see what the images will look like when they're in here. Let's really get something that's a bit less naff. There you go, we'll get her. Update it. And now I can go in here, publish this page, and it'll show me a version. I'll have to get back out of it. It'll show me a version of that Hello World article now with a photo on top. And if I was to say, take that and duplicate it, and then have quite a few of this same thing, and then block it across there, just like the preview showed us. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You can have as many on there as you like for your blogs. And once you go in and click on the blog, it opens it up in this view. And then you can change all sorts of things by removing these items here if you like to. That's all just WordPress stuff. And then you can play with the widgets on the right, as you would do with a normal WordPress site, to remove and add different elements that you want to have in there. So that is the basics of building a site in Divi. You've got as much control as you want to have with it, or as little control as you want to have with it. You can go and just choose the basics and go really hard on a theme that you like that's already in there and a layout that works for you. Or you can do the big box of Lego and all the pieces and just build something up yourself. Either which way, I'd love to be able to offer you my Divi premium code. So if you're interested in that, just please email this email address I'm about to put in there, and I'll send that through to you. The login and the code will give you free. And remember, Chris was also offering in here too some web hosting that actually includes a Divi license as well. So please take some advantage of that, because it sounds like a great deal. And that code will work exactly the same as my code will be. They're all very unlimited and you can share them. So feel free to take up that offer. Or if you'd like to find out more about it as well, I'm more than happy to have a chat with you about anything that you currently want to do with your with your Divi and WordPress and website world. You can get in touch with me through these details, dante@clickstarter.com.au, on Facebook and on LinkedIn, and I'm on Instagram, on everything. So I've got an easy name for you to find if you want to follow up anything. In the meantime, though, thank you so much for taking a bit of time out of your day to enjoy this and to learn a bit more how about WordPress and Divi work together. And please do take advantage of that free premium code as well. Save yourself a little bit of money there. Thanks to Chris, Jeanette, Amanda, Nori, Selena, and Shay for joining us live online. And hopefully if you're watching this on YouTube a little bit later down the track, please leave a comment below and let me know how we went and whether there's something we can help you with as well. Thank you so much and have a fantastic afternoon.